Yo, yo, yo. How's everybody doing today for Loco, Max,
Day,
Stinky,
good
Roats?
day.
Everyone doing
What's
well?
up, boys?
Yo, yo, yo. Good to have you back for Loco. How you been, brother?
It's been good, man. Finally back in U.S. time zone. I was in the Middle East, Dubai actually, and it was pretty crazy to leave 12 hours ahead. So I'm back, and I'm excited to see that the markets are starting to rebound a little bit, perhaps today. And I want to hear everyone's thoughts about, of course, CPI tomorrow, and what you guys' thoughts on current state of the market. So let's do it.
Hell yeah. For those of you guys who were on last week, it was the first stream we did on my page. Was an amazing stream, super timely. My friend Max here was talking about tariffs, a lot of super relevant stuff right now. Really helping us to deploy patience and kind of reminding us to let this thing play out. We're going to do a lot of more of that again today, talking about tariffs, some of the stuff that's going on with Ukraine, and exactly how it's going to affect markets. We'll look at the big Bitcoin bounce, really the bounce that's happening across the board right now, and Bitcoin memes, all of that. Something that I anticipated earlier in the channel and on Twitter recently. So we'll go over all of that. If you guys are coming in from the Telegram channel right now, welcome. Twitter, wherever you're at. I do see you guys commenting on the post in the stream. Really appreciate that. Usually the way we start out this show, before we go into all the good stuff with the tariffs and everything that people are wondering about, charts and all that, we like to do a little bit something we call the Rotes review, which my boy Rotes here goes over, kind of just giving us a nice summary of everything that's happened the past few days since we did the stream. Roach, you want to pull that up, brother?
Yeah,
And by the way, while he's pulling that up, guys, I do see you guys in the chat. We love to make these streams super interactive. We'll be answering questions, comments, so anything you want us to see, push the little live button there, and then leave anything you want us to see in the chat. We'll be looking at that.
it is super fun to see green on the board right now. Everything is looking excellent when it comes to the latest breaking news, and that is that there is a negotiated or a willingness to negotiate a 30-day pause on the Ukraine war. And so, Trump negotiation tactics lands very square in a successful way, and really positive. And the market's reacting quite positive to that as well. This tariff kind of battle and war that rages on, it feels like, and I've said this from a Canadian perspective, that a lot of this is negotiation efforts. I've been quite upset that we failed, Canadians, that is, or Canadian government, to pull back tariffs when Trump announced a pause till April, and that we have been far too aggressive in our countermeasures, and that we need to kind of find an agreement on what the negotiation point is. As much as that we have resources and leverage on our side, when it comes down to it, we are at the mercy of the U.S. government policy and U.S. government practices in the sense that we're a much smaller country. So good to see that's progressed, I think, on latest, and we'll get into more of it. But hopefully, Canada steps back and we can kind of get a pause and reach an
Hey,
agreement.
Rhodes. Well, I was
Yes,
just curious, is the amount of people in Canada, the population, is it the same as California? Is it 30 million? Or is that
yeah,
true?
we're slightly higher, but yeah, I think we're
In
about
all
30,
of
Okay.
Canada,
37 million. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
it's
small.
crazy.
that is nuts.
We have lots of space. We're resource abundant. There's a lot of benefits to the fact of what this Trump kind of constant comment of 51st state. It makes a lot of sense that anyone would want Canada or Canada's general wealth, untapped or what have you, to be part of their country.
For
Of
sure.
course, we're a proud nation as well, and I don't think there's no likelihood of us giving up our sovereignty. We have provinces that have threatened to leave, Quebec, Alberta, but other than that, I think the rest of us are fairly well united that way. So,
Yeah.
and you can see it. You can see it in our responses in sporting events, etc. and our displeasure. But it's an interesting side of it. We don't have good political leadership right now as well, because our current prime minister is on his way out, has basically said he is stepping down, not too
Yeah.
dissimilar to what Biden's got going on. And now we have two new party leaders coming in or battling out for this fall. So until that occurs, it's a little bit of disorganization and chaos as well. So,
For sure.
but
Rhodes, before you
beyond
go on,
that,
real
Bro, it
quickly, I do
sounds
see you
like
guys are
a 51st state situation.
no, don't get out of here.
Hey, listening to your tone, it sounds like it's possible.
All right, guys. So before we go on, I do see you guys coming in the chat. If you're just coming on, we're just doing a little bit of a review of the last few days before we do get on to a lot of talks about tariffs, the charts, all that good stuff. So I see you guys in the chat. What's up, Justin? What is up, Bags Circer? You guys are really commenting a lot on the actual post too as well. I really appreciate that. But sorry to interrupt, Rhodes. Keep going with the
No
review.
worries. West Coast, Best Coast. Although, I'm probably in that general range that is willing to consider all avenues, Danksy. I'm not going to answer any further than that. Fear and Greed Index is now down to 15, multi-year low on CoinMarketCap. It doesn't show the chart longer than that. I'm sure there's other charts that show longer range, but we're probably looking back to the range of COVID and bear market, bears, FTX, etc. Bitcoin major volatility continues. We're currently at what is that 83K, but I think we've probably gone above that since then. Sailor is raised 21 billion to buy more Bitcoin. This is done in a preferred stock way, a little less risk to any kind of form of liquidation. Anti-banking crypto rules have been rolled back. Some more positivity there. The Loomis bill for strategic Bitcoin purchasing continues to progress. Likelihood of that happening, et cetera. Still a long ways to go, but very positive nonetheless. The NFT side of things, volume not bad. You see some movement. You see some movement on ordinals with things like the Quantum Cats and the Taproot Wizards kind of almost impending. On the daily mover side of things, little pudgies up 12% to 1 ETH, but the 1 ETH is kind of the range they've been at for some period of time. So that's likely a floor sweep to bring it back up. Big pudgies in that almost sub 9 ETH range. Again, I think that's a very good value range for them, given where they've been at over the past 6 months or so. Nakamigos up 31% to 0.18, a little bit of surge there. And on the meme coin side of things, we see a good rally bounce here in the last 24 hours. Doge up 6.7% to 24.3 billion, down 16% though on the week. Pepe up 10.3%, again down 8% on the week. Fartcoin up to 248 million, up 22% in the last 24 hours, up 12% on the week as well. One of the real true winners in the last week. And then Giga up 45% to 98 million. But up down 29% in the last 7 days.
29 billion.
Yeah, down 29 billion, big time. Price achievement used to be
big bounce on Giga. I just saw that today for the first time.
Price achievement used to be 110K that we tracked on the target. I've lowered it to the 100K. The 100K is at 16%. Only at 4% from where the 110K was at last show. So the upside is pretty bearish, although I'm sure that's changing as we speak. And then downside 70K, 27% likelihood, up 7%. So more pressure to the downside. Excited to get into the rest of the conversation, and that's that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the review, Rhodes. Definitely a lot of stuff happened in the last few days. Just going back to the chat real quick. What's up, Maxwell? What's up, Panda? Raj Bunty says, in my opinion, Justin was the issue. New president might be good.
100%.
Yeah. Then Trump go. Somebody I saw another one from Raj said, "Why is market so volatile right now?" Brand I got fucked. Lost every liquidity. Man, just when we just look to the past. Anytime the majors have these these big corrections, the memes and everything kind of just a lot of what's happening now usually happens. So yeah, but Yeah, let's get on to the good stuff here. Justin says, won't lie, I got really scared yesterday when Bitcoin fell to 78K. I thought we're entering bear market. Yeah, that's a lot of the stuff we've been talking about on the stream here with Max lately. That fear just gets super irrational near the bottom. But we'll definitely get into that. I do want to get into a few of the relevant topics that's happening right now. We got really into the weeds kind of with tariffs as far as crypto went last week. I want to go over a bit more of that for people who are confused on that. But we do have, again, my friend Max Crypto here, somebody who I've gotten really close with lately. He's a 40-year TradFi vet. This guy has been on Fox News, Forbes, CNBC many times over the years, giving his takes on a bunch of stuff, but specifically where I feel like he shined, at least the stuff that I've seen, is talking about these different crises and how the media drums up fear and all this different stuff. A lot of the stuff that's kind of going on right now. So we're super blessed to have Max on here, and now a regular in the show, kind of running the show with me. So, Max, first of all, how you doing today, brother?
Great guys, happy to be here. Glad to hear everybody.
Amazing. Now, Max, I know we talked about a little bit about tariffs last week, and we were talking a little bit about you and I and a few of the others before the show. But you want to just like reiterate again, kind of what's going on with the tariffs, what's Trump's objective, and kind of how you see them playing out. Over the
Yeah,
next.
yeah, that's a great point. I think what people want to realize is, and I'll preface this by saying I'm not saying anything political, even though it might sound like it. But it's a perspective that if you embrace the perspective, then all the stuff you're watching happen won't scare you and make you nervous. It'll help you recognize there is a purpose to the storm. You want to think about the idea that the United States represents, if you're looking at the world, it represents a pot of gold, and all the countries want to partake in that market because we have 330 million people that buy stuff every day. So a country wants to participate, and then the United States wants to be able to sell to their consumers. And in a perfect world, there's no tariffs to anybody. You just have an equal trade relationship. But unbeknownst to a lot of people, probably, over the decades, there are many countries that you aren't even aware that charge the United States a tariff or don't even let them sell to the parties that are in their country, yet we let them sell into the United States. Now, we don't need to go back and forth over that stuff, and it doesn't mean that it need to be a plus or a minus or a political statement. But what Trump has come in and said, and you heard him say this throughout his political time, is that America needs to be first. Meaning, if we're the pot of gold, then we need to have a fair relationship if you want to participate in the pot of gold. It may seem like a storm, it may seem like a tornado rolling through the process, but you saw today a perfect example of what the tariff is for. The tariff is to say, listen, we're either going to make this fair to the United States, or you're going to get a taste of your own medicine. Now, doesn't mean that's the case in everything. It just means that's the major sort of hammer being used. And what you saw today is somebody in Ontario threatened to cut off electricity to 3 states in the United States. And Trump said, great, your tariffs just doubled. I'm going to go to 50% instead of 25%. And Canada will be written about in the history books for decades to come at the damage that comes to them. So that happens. And 1 hour later, roughly 1 hour later, Ontario not only backed off, but agreed to immediately meet and discuss tariffs between the two countries or
Max,
parties.
really quickly to interrupt you, Danksy, can you first of all let me share my screen so I can pull this up, and then two, can one of you link me this thread that Max is talking about? Um, and then sorry to interrupt you, Max.
Yeah, no problem. So kind of, try to watch these events without letting your emotion get in the middle of it. There is a purpose. This is a battle that must go on. It must happen, and it will happen. And when it's done, here's the thing: when the tornado has gone through, uh, you will find that everything is better for both parties. In other words, whoever the battle is with, when they succumb to making it fair, we will find that the entire world will work better. It, it,
Gotcha.
it'll be different, but it'll work better for everybody.
Gotcha. So your take is essentially that Trump is just playing hardball with all of them, and that the outcome will eventually be not only favorable trade rules or favorable trade, whatever you want to call them, for the United States, but for the world as a whole.
That's true. But remember, if you're one of those other countries, you got to have this perspective. You're not going to win. So the question is how much damage do you allow to take place before you decide to make it fair? And that's the ultimate, that's what he's really telling you. He's really saying, he said 3 times today, I don't care what happens to the stock market. So what he's really saying is, we're going to play this game. We're going to do what we've got to do. And unfortunately, if you don't come to the table and negotiate, it will not be pretty.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and inflation is already kind of like coming down slightly. I don't know if
Oh,
you've seen it, Max, but we'll see what happens tomorrow with CPI. But whether Trump says that he doesn't care about stocks or not, I think that he does.
Oh, I'm sure he does.
Just,
Yeah, I'm
you
sure.
know,
He does in
he
the long
definitely
term,
has
but
to say he doesn't.
yeah.
Yeah.
Put hey, Bren, can you bring that chart up that showed the fear? Because a lot of guys are talking about the 15, and I know we.
Yeah, the chart you sent me earlier.
Yeah, can you bring that chart up? Because I think it would teach everybody a really good lesson about what's really unfolding.
Yeah, of course. Let me do
If
that
there's a
really
way to
quickly.
do that.
Let's do my entire screen so you'll be able to see that. And then this one, right?
That's the one, right?
Perfect.
Okay, so unfortunately, you can't. Can they see the C and D where we see the box of chat? Are they able to?
I'll try to make it.
Okay,
Let me see.
so I hope everybody can see
I
that.
hit chat.
Can we all see it? Okay, good.
You can zoom it in a little bit. Zoom
Yeah,
in a little bit.
you can bring
Yeah.
it out a little now. You can make it larger for everybody to see.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. So guys, everybody, I just focus on the A, B, C, and D. Okay. Now you know what this chart is. It shows you the crypto fear index, but it also shows an overlay. You see the gray line on the chart. That's the price of Bitcoin. Now notice where A is. That's the measurement of near record bullishness last March. Okay. Now notice what price it's related to. That's where B is. The price is about 72,000 on Bitcoin. In other words, people were so fucking elated at price of 72,000 they could barely see straight. That was last March.
Yeah.
Now remember that they were elated at price of 72,000. They couldn't get out of their own way by being as excited as they were. Now, today we are at 15, meaning we are at the opposite end of our feelings. the market is, apoplectic. People are leaping off the ledges in their mind, and they pretty much think it's over, except the price is 82,000. So think of the logic of that for a second, and if you'll let that kind of settle in your mind, you're gonna go, well, wait a minute, why is it working like that?
Well, I'm curious to see, because this is very helpful, Max. Curious to see how much of the fear comes from social media. Because if a lot of it comes from social media, I would say like the majority of crypto doesn't really own Bitcoin.
Oh,
Therefore, this chart could be somehow useful. But think about like most people that are negatively talking about crypto probably don't have uh, any positions in Bitcoin. They
Now,
probably have
Max,
altcoins. And
what
if you
is
look
this
at the
fear,
altcoins charts, it's probably way more difficult. Yeah,
the fear
different
and greed
story.
index? What does it exactly measure, Max? For at least for the CMC crypto fear and greed index.
It measures all of the technical factors in the market. It,
Okay.
it, it goes through an algorithm process, and it measures every kind of technical factor you can imagine: pace of selling, pace of buying, pressure of, in other words, it will tell you in emotional format what price is doing.
Okay.
So what, but you notice I get the point that was made about not a lot of people owning Bitcoin. But what I think it's telling you is that the people who do own Bitcoin are telling you in Bitcoin's actions that this is how they feel. And the reason that all these charts you see of when emotion gets red, price is reaching its stretch point on the bottom, and when it gets green, it's reaching its stretch point on the highs. And by the way, you can see that in this chart. So why focus on Bitcoin? Well, as we've also said a lot, how goes Bitcoin, so goes the rest of the marketplace.
Yeah.
Usually. So, so you want to take your cue from how does this feel? And this tells a long-term owner, I mean, I can tell you this factually, this chart doesn't go back very far, but every time
Can
emotion,
we?
so,
Could we overlay the total crypto market cap without Bitcoin and Ethereum within this chart? Do you think that's possible? So we actually see
well, this comes,
how, because I
this,
think we'll even correlate even more
yeah, this
to
comes
the
off
alt
coin
market.
market cap. So I don't know that we can manipulate the chart.
I'm
I'm
sure there's some way you could do it on like TradingView or one of these apps for sure. Maybe we'll have that set up for next show.
Yeah,
Um,
Yeah,
that
maybe
would be very
very
interesting
cool.
to see.
yeah. So all I was trying to show is that you're reaching the regions where all the whales, remember, they're buying. They're not selling. They're buying. Um, there's always got to be a buyer and a seller, and the person, the over leveraged retail brand new person, guy who bought Bitcoin for the first time at 80 grand and failed to sell it at 110, and now it's maybe even underwater, who knows. They probably did it with leverage. They're all getting burned, and we've said this before, those are the guys that have to leave the train before it leaves the station. But the point of seeing 15 needs to register in your mind, hey, the train's about empty.
Yeah.
It's just an indicator of saying the ability to pressure the market is running out. The fuel that pressures the market is running out, and the buy fuel is building up.
Gotcha. And what would you say like the biofuel is like?
Well, all parties in any investment, 99% of the audience only buys higher prices. Very, very few people will step in when prices are doing this. Now, the difference between the 1% and the 99% is that the 1% does what the 99 is not willing to do. They're not
Okay.
willing to forego the emotional stress. They're more willing to let go of the emotional stress, and that happens the moment they sell.
Gotcha. Love this. Love this. I love this whole talk on the feeding fear and greed index. This is gonna be an amazing clip that we'll have. So hell yeah. I'm looking at the chat really quick. I see you guys still typing. Justin says can't see a single thing written there though. Yeah, I can zoom in for you right now. Sailor tweeted a few hours ago, big things are coming. I did see that. I
Yeah,
want to show up
he's going to make a major purchase. I mean,
now. Yeah, can we talk about that too, Max? I saw a 15 billion number. What is that mean? They're gonna raise or that their target or like what's
well,
going on?
remember that's a shelf offering. That doesn't mean he's going to get all 21 billion at once.
Yeah.
In
Oh,
fact,
21 billion, right? Damn.
in fact,
I think he has like three to 4 month time frame, no, to accomplish it.
well,
That's
he's
what
got
I was hearing.
he can extend that though. Those things can be
Okay.
shelf offerings can keep extending. Um, but hey, look, I'm not sitting here suggesting he wouldn't do all of it at once because I'm sure he has the demand from the institutional parties that are coming to him to have a share of this. There's no doubt he could raise it in an afternoon. Um, so so I would argue that you're probably going to see, like, I wouldn't be shocked to see a $5 or $6 billion chunk announced here relatively shortly. And God knows, look, I talked to our clients the other day, and I said, the real shocker here, and you're sort of seeing these chess pieces get set up on the board, and it's not anything that's very clear. You have to kind of put them together in your own mind. But you notice the last few weeks, Trump and Elon have said we're going to Fort Knox and we're going to count the gold. And then you saw Trump say, yeah, but we got to find budget neutral ways to be the king of crypto. Okay? You can assure yourself that Donald Trump is not going to let, Saudi Arabia buy more Bitcoin than he is. And he's not going to let China and he's not going to let Russia. My whole point is that I would not be shocked that the out of left field event is that we sell our gold and we buy Bitcoin. Now, before you think that's completely fucking crazy, it would do two things all at once. Okay. It would do two things that would leave the world numb. Okay. Here's the two things it would do. A, the US would be the one international body that will own 20% of Bitcoin. And B, it will make gold worthless almost overnight.
Now, wow.
Now, why would you say it would make gold worthless? Remember, we talked about in other discussions. Belief is what creates value. The
Now, I
reason
don't want, go ahead, Max. Sorry.
Go ahead, sorry. The reason I got to buy $700 Bitcoin is because nobody friggin' believed it. Nobody. It was the dumbest thing anybody could think of. Well, the reason you've got to pay $80,000 for it now and $1 million for it later is because the audience of belief is going to expand. And as it expands, volatility drops and price stability rises. So that works in reverse. Okay? Because gold, quote unquote, and I'm making quotes, has been the standard for centuries. I mean, that's what everybody believed. China's accumulated, Russia buys it, everybody buys it because everybody believes. If the United States said, we're selling our gold and buying Bitcoin, there would be a shock to the system, and you would weaken every one of our enemies immediately.
Absolutely. I don't want to stay too much on the gold thing, but really, what would be the implications if gold were to fucking go down, though? Would it like would the whole world not have to completely like because a bunch of the world's central banks have gold, so it'd have to be wouldn't that cause this
They have
calamity?
gold, but their money is not attached to gold. They own gold. It simply means their wealth would fall.
Now, would that start like a war? Like, what do you see that like? Do you think
Well,
that's a
they
smoothly happen, or does it cause like a huge calamity?
they'd have to hope that their belief is enough to keep it going.
Interesting.
But believe me, when I say overnight, I don't mean it would go to zero. I mean
Yeah.
the wave of think of the geometric curve of belief growing in Bitcoin and price rising. If that took place, then that belief curve would be completely inverted in gold. So you would have reached the peak and then you would start falling. So it would be harder and harder and harder to get gold to stabilize at a price, whereas Bitcoin would see the opposite. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Wow, that would be absolutely crazy. And if it happens, we'll have the clip from Max calling it before anybody else did. That friggin' world transitions from the gold to the Bitcoin. So you've heard a lot of people say that for many years, and I mean that would probably be the way it would happen. So
Well,
uh,
believe me, the only reason I say it is what other reason would Trump go count the gold?
yeah, you think it's intentional to because he knows it's gonna.
Well, first of all, he knows it's not all there, uh,
Yeah,
which will be a real earthquake for gold anyway. And by the way, a very big positive for Bitcoin. I think the moment he says there's 20% less gold than we thought, Bitcoin surges.
gotcha. So it'll move off the news alone. It'll even have to be
Oh yeah,
like gold.
oh, sure.
Yeah, of course. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And then amazing talk about the gold. We'll definitely have to keep an eye on that. And then definitely love the questions too for Loco. I appreciate you chiming in. Feel free to do it whenever. You too, Danksy, everybody else. But the what I was gonna say next is I was watching a podcast, the All In podcast with Chamath, and then David Sachs is a part of it, the Crypto Czar. He popped in on the podcast the other day, and they were talking about. I wish I could find the clip. It's from one of the most recent ones, and pretty much the Crypto Czar. David Sachs talks about um, a bunch of things, but really specifically, the biggest thing I heard is he was talking about how when is there going to be. A lot of people were wondering when the guy Jason, whatever, he was asking when are we going to have clarity for different digital assets. He even joked when can I have like an NFT project for All In the podcast, and then David Sachs said as soon as a few weeks from now, there's going to be structural bills. It's called structural bills. Kind of lays out the framework. Tell me if I'm wrong, Max, but kind of structural bills like lay out the framework for a certain industry.
Oh, yeah.
Becoming within a few weeks, as soon as a few weeks. So a lot of people are wondering, oh, is this digital? This clarity stuff is it going to take years, months? How long is it going to take? David Sachs made it clear that Trump, they want to move fast with this, obviously in a responsible way. But it's great to hear that he said within a few weeks we could start to get that structural bill coming up, which will be amazing. And like Max said, it could just the news alone of these things could be great for crypto in general, maybe NFTs. A lot of good clarity, hopefully, we'll get from this stuff. So
Yeah, think of like anything else. You know, think of building a new business. Think of whatever you're going to do. There is momentum that must build, and momentum builds faster than most people think. And what usually takes place is everybody's thinking, "Oh my God, this is going to take a long time," and they're surprised by how fast it arrives,
yeah,
and hence they're late. So again, I posted something today about sacrifice. Everything you want, everything you want to accomplish, everything you want to provide, everything you want to say you met your goals on demands something be sacrificed. Like, for example, we just talked about what owners of Bitcoin or anything in the crypto world today have sacrificed over the last month. What have they sacrificed? They have sacrificed the choice of either staying and living with the emotional pain of fear floating around in their mind, or releasing that fear by selling. And that is a sacrifice. In other words, are you willing to be uncomfortable when what's referred to as weak hands are not willing to be uncomfortable? See, that is a level of sacrifice. It is a mental battle that only the winners that end up making the money that's on all these charts, only those guys or ladies get it.
And to be clear, guys, and to put it in proper context, and if you'd watch this show, you know what Max, how his takes are, or what his views are on meme coins and everything else. He's talking about, investing in good assets, Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, that kind of stuff. Not necessarily, you got to hold down a meme coin down 95% type of thing. This applies to mostly the good assets, but just in general, in life. So I love that, Max. Thank you for sharing, for sure. And I want to take this opportunity. Definitely, if you have not already, go and follow. First of all, Max. He's like he said, he's been on since June 2016, but we kind of just optimized his bio, getting him tweeting, interacting, and stuff like that. Him and I are working on some videos, as well as we're going to clip up a lot of what we're seeing here, so you'll see a lot more content, kind of the stuff you're hearing on the stream from Max. So definitely go and shoot him a follow right now. You're already on Twitter. And then definitely follow everybody on the panel as well. I want to go ahead and do a little bit of a reset. If you're coming in the last few minutes, welcome. My name is Bren. Whether you're just seeing us from Twitter, you're from the Boss Man Calls channel, welcome. We really appreciate you. Right now, we're talking a little bit about tariffs, the trade war, inflation, a lot of stuff that's really relevant to the markets right now. We will get into charts here in a bit and stuff like that. But we do these shows twice a week. Tuesday, like today, at 1 p.m. PST, and then Friday, a little bit earlier at 10 a.m. PST. Of course, we go over all this good discussions. But this year, I have a couple actually good guests lined up, and one for this next Friday in 3 days that I'm really excited about that I'll announce. So not only we're going to talk about this analysis and this good stuff, but we'll have cool people on, talk about people's stories, kind of get everybody's different perspective, not only on the markets, but just as their journey in meme coins, in crypto in general, and all these different areas. So super stoked about that. Definitely turn on post notifications for my account so you don't miss a stream. And then definitely follow the Boss Man Calls Telegram channel. On Twitter, I write a lot of my thoughts, but my more in-depth analysis in as far as write-ups, tips and tricks, a lot of live streams that Max and I have been doing in there as well. So definitely check that out. It's in the stream. And then I'll let these guys give a little bit of an explanation. But I've been doing these streams with the Bridge 3 Labs guys for Loco Danks Rotes now for about 8 months. Love these guys. They've got I'll let them talk a little bit about it, but a group with a lot of smart people in it as well. So definitely check out what they're doing. For Loco, you want to give a breakdown, a little bit of a breakdown yourself for what you guys got going on?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so we are a group of kind of like what we call investors and entrepreneurs in the space. We've been pretty much here since 2022 when we started our community, and we started as a group of friends, and then we started to think about like different ways to provide value to the space. And so we started an NFT community where we would support like builders, developers, as well as project founders to really grow, on their journey to Web3, which we understand, as you guys can see, is not an easy one. And yeah, so far we've just been, kind of like helping with educational content, kind of like what you guys do as well at Bossman, where we provide resources for trading, as well as, kind of like one-on-one lessons where we help them navigate pretty much the crypto environment. So if you want to check it out, we have, thanks for popping out the link. We have a collection on Magic Eden called B3LBs, where you can kind of like see what we're doing in there. And follow us on Twitter for more information.
Oh yeah, brother. Great breakdown. Now, Max, is there? I kind of just plugged your Twitter. I don't want to do it for you. Is there anything else you want to plug, or any other places people can find you, or is it kind of just Twitter for now? YouTube, right?
Yeah, we're gonna do a YouTube and start putting things up. Obviously, Brandon, you've seen one of our videos, but over the decades, there's a whole lot of video that we're going to put up, and hopefully people can get a lot out of that content. Here to help people understand that we are living in a world right now that you're going to write about in books in 10 years. And you got anybody who is active in this industry today will will be perceived as real pioneers 10 years from now, and the entire world will have changed, the world of money at least, because of all the things all of us are doing together.
Absolutely, brother. So stoked to be on these streams with you, and working with you. Can you what was the YouTube channel? Remind me again.
Oh gosh, what's it called? Fuck.
Oh, good. I think it was Team Six Crypto. No,
Six Crypto, yes. Team
is it all
Six.
one word? Do you know?
Yeah, all one word.
Team Six Crypto. I think we do. You could do filters by channel. Let's see here. Yes, channel. Huh. Maybe he has a different at. We'll definitely link it in here as well. Max posted a few videos, but him and I, with the clips on his YouTube channel, a bunch of other places, expect a lot of content from there. So we'll link it in the bio. I definitely want to get back to the chat real quick. I see you guys talking in there. He's
I know what it might be. It's capital letters.
I don't know if it's case sensitive. I'll try real
Oh,
quick.
okay. Because I'm
Okay.
copying if you look at it, it says youtube.com/at Team Six Crypto, and all of the words are capitalized.
Oh, here you are. Here you are. Okay, yeah. This is his YouTube channel. He just set it up. Is this it? Right?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, perfect, perfect. Yeah, definitely check it out. He has a nice, explanation on and stuff right here. Read this as well. But yeah, definitely check out his YouTube channel. We'll link it in there as well. Got a couple comments before we move on. Justin says, "Very true, Max. You must sacrifice something to gain something." Absolutely. Get Beluga. It just says Max brings the heat like an icy hot pack. Burns but feels so good. Damn. All right. Buy the fear, sell the greed for sure. If you want to make it discipline, yeah. Max is 40 years old, but has 1,000 years of knowledge. We didn't say Max was 40 years old, but sounds like it, man. Probably, he's
Um,
Max, what's the best way to capitalize on this? Just spot Bitcoin, or
yeah,
what are you doing here?
yeah. I think unless there's a lot of wealth already backing it up, I think leverage is going to be something that doesn't help a lot of people that are just starting. So spot is going to be your best bet, and you gotta. We've said this over and over again. I, and maybe it's easier for me to say only because I've experienced it. As soon as you experience it, it's like any muscle in your body. As soon as you start using that muscle, you're going to get very good at this, and you're going to be able to boldly look at things that used to scare you, and you're going to realize it's just something dancing across your mind, um, because you're going to be able to say, well, that happened 19 times before, and look what happened after every one of them. What is my point to that? My point is if you owned Ethereum from $6, then you lived through all of that stuff. So another one doesn't bother you. It represents an opportunity. Same thing with Bitcoin. If you bought it at 700, it doesn't really cause a lot of heartburn if it goes from 109 to 83. I think I saw a tweet the other day. We're going to see a tweet that says Bitcoin crashes to 600 grand. Think about that.
Yeah.
Bitcoin crashes to $500,000, and long enough, we're going to see something that says Bitcoin crashes to $1.5 million.
Yep.
In fact, I would argue that there's going to be a number it reaches at some point where we're going to stop using the commas because it will be too overwhelming for people to realize, wait a minute, I'm buying something that costs $3 million.
Do you think at the point they'll use Satoshis or whatever, the smaller?
Yeah, it'll eventually be measured differently than price.
Since it's yeah. I have a question from Jimmy, and we talked about this last stream, but it's a really, I'm sure a lot of people are wondering, and really like the dilemma that everybody's having right now is he's asking, is there any chance that the bull market is over? Maybe for Bitcoin, it's different, but for alts, it seems it's almost over. And I'll let Max touch that. But first of all, none of us know 100% anything. It's all about probabilities, taking in different information, all this different stuff. None of us know 100%. There's different things for me chart wise that depicts corrective behavior and all that. But even not even looking at charts, nobody knows 100% what's going to happen. But I think what Max will tell you, and I want to hear his more detailed answer. But what we were talking about on last stream is that if people are, scared if we're going into a bear market like 2021, the short answer to answer your question, Jimmy, is we are just in a much different world than we were in 2021, crypto wise, and just in general. Crypto back then, was still pretty fucking niche. Like, of course, Elon was talking about Doge and was talking about Bitcoin, but besides that, institutions didn't really come in until after that, the bear market. You didn't have Larry Fink and BlackRock at that point. And like Max was saying on these last streams, if we did get down to 50, 60, there's a hell of a lot more fucking buy pressure from high net worth individuals who are watching the situation with the regulations and all that would buy that up extremely quickly versus 2021, that institutional, backdrop or anything wasn't there. So for me, not only is there a lot of signs chart wise that we're looking at of a correction more like 2024 and less like a impulsive bear market to the downside, but as well, you got to look at fundamentally everything going on. Bitcoin really solidified in the TradFi world now. You see Larry Fink saying the classic line that people have been saying for 10 years that, and Max has been saying lately too, that if every millionaire in the world wanted to get a Bitcoin, there would be none left. That's how you know these guys are bought in. People have been saying this line for fucking 5-10 years about Bitcoin. That's what he's saying to all his TradFi clients and all that stuff now. In a short answer, Jimmy, we're just in a much different place than we were in 2021. So therefore, I think it's a lot less likely that we do enter that bear market. Max, what would you say?
Well, I think carrying on with your thought, Bren, I think what people want to realize is a few years ago, there weren't multiple parties who could, for example, let's just pretend that it went to 50 grand. There are multiple parties that could have a cocktail, grab a joint Zoom call, and say, okay, tomorrow morning, we buy everything that's available until it's not 50 grand anymore. Now, think about that for a minute. They would buy everything. There would be no Bitcoin available for anybody else. So that did not exist a few years ago. Now, what you're probably watching right this minute is all the big boys want the Bitcoin. They don't want to pay 100 grand for it. And if they can pay 78 and scare the shit out of you at the same time, they'll do it all day long. Yeah. All day. And you know what'll happen? Here's the sad part of why I'm kind of passionate about don't be afraid, because here's what I guarantee you will happen. I guarantee it. You will be afraid today at 77, and you will be elated to buy it again at 125.
Absolutely.
And you will bet the ranch because you know it's going to 180. You know it. So don't fall into the cycle. You can't get out of it. You get stuck in it, and it's hard to escape. Just don't fall into the cycle.
Absolutely. Love that. That was fire. Crypto Syndrome says 1.2K viewers, Max and Brendan the Goats. Yeah, everybody on here is the Goats. For Loco, Danksy Rhodes. Love to have these on here.
Max,
but yeah,
you got an opinion on spot versus ETFs for Bitcoin exposure?
Yeah, I wouldn't buy an ETF. ETFs, as you're watching, There are owners of ETFs that don't like watching everybody sell because they're fucking scared. You don't want to be in a bag that's pressured by someone else's emotions because they become self-fulfilling. See, think about it for a second. Larry Fink can love Bitcoin all day long for Goldman and BlackRock and all the big boys. They can all love it. But if they have an ETF that's got a bunch of weak-handed retail investors in it and they sell $250 million on Friday, well, what does he got to do? He's got to sell $250 million of Bitcoin. You didn't want that, but you own the same ETF. So you are vast.
Aren't the biggest holders of the ETFs at least IBIT pension funds that are not normally selling?
Well, I wouldn't say that because they've been selling a boatload the last week.
The pension fund specifically?
No.
Just
Owners, the retail audience that owns ETFs have been sellers for days straight.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Yeah. No. I mean, retail definitely not the. I mean, it's definitely. I get it. Retail investors are the ones that it's not something I would use as a metric.
yeah,
But definitely, it would be interesting in seeing if institutional investors, part of what BlackRock brought in from their existing clients, they sold anything. I would say that no.
well,
But
keep in
again,
mind the portfolio that they're describing is the portfolio that they're what would you call it? Retail / high net worth audience is dealing with. Institutions, they're doing direct. If X pension fund is their client and they want to buy $300 million of Bitcoin, they're not buying an ETF. They might do it temporarily, but they're not buying it.
Yeah, I mean, there's some hedge funds like Brevan Howard,
Oh, yeah.
Millennium.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at some of the holders of IBIT,
Yep.
Goldman Sachs.
Yep.
There's a bunch of like actual institutions that own IBIT, and I was just looking if they did any trades recently. But no, I mean, they're definitely curious to see that. I would imagine that most of the holders would not sell short term, but retail is another world for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I want to get back to the chat real quick. What about government trying to centralize crypto by having a huge amount? What are your thoughts on that, Max? Like
I don't think they're trying to center. I mean,
because that's still owned by the clients, right? Like even though it's held by
you're not. Nobody's trying to centralize anything. I think they want to own as much of the 21 million as they can. I mean, that's the race. You think of it. What Saylor has been preaching for years is not anything other than this is the best asset to own. And once the 21 million are gone, this asset will be deflationary to the currency world, which will help every country on the planet. You don't want inflation is the poison of every country that uses paper money. And it has been abused by leaders that, may not have their brethren front in mind, but it has been abused forever. It has been a force as a stick used against a population. And if you take that force away from governments, then you have equalized the monetary system in a way that no one else has thought of. Everybody will be equal.
Okay, makes sense. Soul says 1.2K viewers is insane. Shout out to Soul. X Radical Max thoughts on RWA.
RWA will be probably the biggest thing in crypto.
And that directly, and for people, I don't think people make the connection that directly involves like NFT technology.
Yeah,
correct?
NFT is likely, and by the way, I'm no NFT expert, but a vehicle called an NFT would be so simple to monopolize the RWA transition. It's easy for an NFT to be, 17 office buildings in downtown New York. It'd be very difficult for you and I to go buy 17 buildings in downtown New York. But if there was an NFT that said, hey, you can buy your 0.000011 ticks for whatever, Well, then now you own a share of those 17 office buildings.
And you get the custody in your own wallet
Yeah.
and everything. That's
Yeah. And by the way, it's liquid. There's a whole lot of people that want to buy it from you. So, but everything will be owned that way.
That's why OpenSea.
Yeah, I think it's only a matter of times. It's only a matter of times that banks actually start to recognize NFTs as a valuable method of transaction where there's a contract. Because we IRL we've explored this with some of our companies, and right now the sentiment is like people, especially banks and traditional funds, don't really see the blockchain yet as something that it's, right now you have insurance companies backing all these contracts, right? Like if something goes bad, you have insurance, you have someone that backs whether it's a loan or whatever. But right now, I think it's getting better. But so far, it's just like people have to trust that everything that is on chain is, the last most valuable word, right? Whatever is the most important thing to trust. I think we'll get there eventually, but I just don't think we're there right now. Last year, we tried to explore an avenue, with NFTs as, just backing a contract, and Dexy can expand on that as well. But it just felt like investors are not yet comfortable with NFTs as a method of like.
I feel like with
backing,
anything, it's going to be like super slowly and then all at once. Like
Of course.
BlackRock or one of these fucking companies will say, "Okay, NFTs are it," and then just takes off. Would you say like that, Max?
Yeah, I think my implication wasn't, this is going to happen next Thursday.
Yeah.
It's the obvious evolutionary goal. It becomes simpler and simpler to, quote, see and understand as it seeps into the business. It's going to be very slow and very, I don't know about that. Our lawyers are still checking it out. I mean, they'll blame anything, but what it really is they want to see a bunch of other people to do it first.
Makes sense. Yeah. Ferry B says, first of all, Ferry, I did see your question earlier about best place to buy Bitcoin. Depends where you're at. For me in the United States, I found two places to be really good. One of them, Coinbase, obviously, goes without, having to be explained. It's just, super secure, all that. And then Cash App. Coinbase, if you buy with a debit card, you can buy, I think, like a few thousand or whatever instantly and be able to move it. If not, you have to use a bank account. At Cash App, though, you can buy Bitcoin instantly and move it out. So I like Cash App a lot for Bitcoin. And you asked as well, Ferry, is it worth it to even buy 1K of Bitcoin? What's the best platform to purchase? Already answered the second part. Is it worth it to even buy 1K of Bitcoin? I say if we've learned anything, and I already kind of had my portfolio set up this way, but it just really solidified myself now that like it's really important to set up your portfolio in a way that's really heavily weighted in Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol. Once you can survive these times, have dry powder as well as the assets are going to be around for a while. So yeah, if you don't have any Bitcoin, even 1K worth is a good amount to start and building your portfolio heavier weighted towards these strong assets. So
yeah, I want to say two things about that. One, don't frame your mind in a way where you're saying, gosh, should I buy $1,000 of Bitcoin? Frame it in this way. I'm buying an asset that is going to double or triple or quintuple in size. So my $1,000 is going to do the very same thing. So think of it as an investment in a vehicle that is going to gain value. How much of the vehicle you buy doesn't matter. It's all going to move in the same direction. Look, there's a tweet that's been sitting on X in multiple locations. I've seen it multiple times. There is a wallet that has spent 8 years buying $30 of Bitcoin a week. $30. Now they have $1 million.
beautiful.
So I would tell someone today, buy $50 a week. And in 10 years, you're going to be dumbfounded at how much money you have.
So you think Bitcoin's like the equivalent of somebody buying Bitcoin right now, probably even more so the equivalent of somebody buying the S&P like in the fucking 90s or
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Easy.
that's the new S&P trade pretty much.
Just have yourself in the wave. It's a giant wave. And let me tell you one more thing, because I see a lot, man. I am more confident now that there won't be a bear market because I see about 40 people talking about a bear market.
Yeah.
Believe me, when everybody thinks they've figured out what's going to happen next, it is not going to happen. Period. That
Yep.
never works that way. So
You're right.
when you feel something strongly and all your buddies are agreeing with you, recognize this: there is something wrong. Okay. So I'm going to say two things. One, this is going to sound nutty, but pray for a bear market. Pray for it. Because, and I'm going to tell you why. In the next 20 years, you're going to get 4 or 5 of them. And the rest of the time,
Bear market, what is a bear market for you? Just like a multi-year correction for?
oh God, no, that's not the way bear markets are going to work in Bitcoin. Bear markets are going to be volatile, fierce, and quick.
Like these 6-month ones we've been getting now, kind
And
of,
it's
right?
going to scare the shit out of everybody until it triples again.
Okay. Yeah, that was my thinking too. I think we're in a new era where like the multi-year correction.
But here's the point. In a 20-year span, there's going to be half a dozen of them. Okay? Let me give you an analogy of the stock market since the day I started in 1982. Here's the analogy of what you want to understand. 6.5% of the days that I have been in this business have been in a bear market. 6.5% of the days. Every horrible thing for 43 years, 6.5% of the days were in a bear market. So I ask you for a second, if I walked up to you and said, Jesus Christ, I cannot believe how much I'm worrying about a bear market. I am worrying about a bear market every single time price goes down for a week. I can't sleep because I'm worried about a bear market. And then someone says back to me, well, Mike, you do realize that only 7%, I'm going to round it up, only 7% of the last 40 years has been spent in a bear market. Why the fuck are you worrying about that?
Yeah, it's the same as you look at the S&P 500 chart for the last 20, 30 years.
Right.
It's like if you're short, you probably will have lost everything, right? There's no time to waste being short, for
Everything.
sure.
So what does that tell us about this world? It tells us the exact same thing. You will not get what's coming if you're wondering when the next bear market is.
Yep, love that. Justin says, I remember Elon hyping Doge a lot back then. Yeah, hold on, let me see. I'm catching up with the chat. Learning a lot. Thank you for being on here, Armstrong. Inflation will only destroy fiat forever. Someone said, Bren, what's your take on the impact of the Loomis bill on Bitcoin price? Max, do you think that Loomis bill is going to pass?
Yeah, I do.
Awesome. Do you know when the rest that like
they just have to find out what the holdback will be? Is, hey, we'll pass it, but we can't spend money that nobody has approved yet.
Wait, can't they? If that's approved, they can use taxpayer dollars, right? It was just Trump couldn't do it. It was executive order. He has to actually go through Congress, or is that?
Yes, it has to go all the way through Congress and Senate.
Amazing. So in this way, they would be able to buy Bitcoin. A lot of people were wondering because right now I think Loomis is proposing like a high amount. I think it was hundreds of thousands. They were saying the guy that was saying this,
1 million Bitcoin.
Yeah, the interview said it would get traded down, but even if it was like 500K or something, that'd be massive. But yeah, what would the take be? What would the impact of the Loomis bill be on Bitcoin? I think Max would agree. Long term, that would just be a huge fucking push for Bitcoin on the.
Well, think about it for a minute. For all those people that are asking, yeah, but do you think it's going to go to 50 grand? You have to realize, I'm gonna steal Michael Saylor's comment from an interview he did a week ago when everybody was saying MicroStrategy is going to go bust because it has all this debt and Bitcoin's going to zero. and he said Bitcoin is not going to zero, because let me tell you what would happen if it went to $10. If it went to $10, I personally would buy every single Bitcoin. Keep in mind, it would only cost 210 million bucks to buy every Bitcoin. So when you get your mind so wrapped up into asking what are completely illogical questions, with the amount of money that is waiting to pounce on this thing, you gotta let those go. You gotta stop letting your mind get you there, because trust me, it will not help you the higher this price goes. Because
amazing.
because trust me on this. There's gonna be a day. There's gonna be a day when Bitcoin will go down by the amount that is flashing on that screen right this minute.
We'll have an 80K candle.
It will go down 80 grand in one friggin' day.
Damn.
I am max bullish.
You got to be hearing this. Just love it. D Money says, "Legend speaking right now." Thanks, brother. What is the best platform to purchase Bitcoin? Already went over that. Bitcoin/gold. Yo, Max. If by any means we actually go to a bear market, where do you think Bitcoin will fall to? We've talked about that. Like, who knows? But like, again, if it were to get down to 50 or 60, go ahead, Max.
Pray for a bear market.
Yeah, exactly. NFT is like decor. It might have payway for others. Sailor's investment could be starting point of new wave. Yeah, I believe Bitcoin DCA is the best way to accumulate. Absolutely. If you're in the US, Ferry B, I would check out those two. Coinbase, obviously, and then Cash App's probably the fastest. DCA with $50 a week. Yeah, that's a correct mindset. I'm starting out in the crypto world. And I'm learning so that in the initial, I would be able to invest. Absolutely. Panda said, "This is so true. It's always the opposite of what the majority think." Yeah, a lot of times. At least at the extremes, at the tops and the bottoms. So Max, you don't think the bear market is going to last long? These are questions from like 10 or 15 minutes ago, I think, anyway. But yeah, Justin, a bear market as far as time, like in the past, where we're going down for a year plus 2 years, very unlikely at this point with the buyers and the way that everything's set up. It's kind of what we're getting at.
Here's what you want to think about a bear market. You don't want to think mentally. It does not help you to think about a bear market in negative terms. And here's why.
Love that.
Look at the past and say to yourself, when the bear market looked as ugly as it possibly could, should I have been a buyer or seller?
A buyer every
I mean,
time.
let me give you a real life example of what I'm trying to describe. We had a lady come in with her husband, and they have a lot of money, but it's all sitting in cash. And she told me the story. She said, "Well, let me tell you why." I hope no one gets bored with this. I'm going to make it quick.
No, it's all.
She said, "Let me tell you why we're in cash." Now, by the way, this was last year, 2024. Okay, remember that for a minute. So she tells me the reason they're in cash, and I'm quoting, is because they lost a lot of money in the Great Recession during 2008 and 2009. And I said, "What?" And she said, "Oh, we lost a lot of money." And I said, "Ma'am, that was 15 years ago." And she said, "I know, but we lost a lot." And I said, "How did you lose a lot of money from 15 fucking years ago?" And she said, "Well, the market went down a lot in 2008. I said, "I know the market went down a lot in 2008. I invested in it. I lived the whole thing. But how did you lose money?" And then she got a little bit like, "Well, Matt, are you a fucking idiot? You don't know that the market went down?" And I said, "I know exactly what the market did." And I read off to her by heart where it moved from and where it got to in March of 2009, which, by the way, was Dow 6,770. So I said, "But ma'am, how did you lose money?" The Dow has gone up 7 times over since then. How did you lose money? And we went back and forth and back and forth. And on the 6th time that I ended with, how did you lose money? She sat back, took a deep breath, looked at her husband, and said, because we sold at the bottom.
Damn. Chills. No, I love that story. Bitcoin is the safest and better money. Yeah. Bitcoin, ticker Bitcoin to $10. I think it's possible, Zudi. I love the Sproto, bro. DT3 Trade says by far favorite show so far. Insane sauce. Thank you, GT3. Humble Bag. Yo, Bren, what's up, Humble? Max and Bren owns this space now. Bro is the best. Bro is the best key. Bitcoin, yeah. I'm always praying for a bear market whenever I get the chance to sell. How much will a pro crypto government affect the market? Uh, a lot, and that's my whole point in kind of being bullish. Apart from all this other stuff we're talking about, because like always, like Max is talking about, there's always some fear that drums up, fear and pushes prices down. But everything that's happening regulatory wise with the Bitcoin strategic reserve, the states strategic reserves, the Loomis bill we're talking about, all that different stuff is that it's structural. That it's stuff that's going to be long lasting, that's going to make sure our industry's here 20, 30, 50 years down the line. And by as a result, we'll have the crypto prices, especially the great assets, Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol, going way higher. So, what to answer your question, long term, like always, which is really what we focus on, and mid and long term, it's going to be incredibly beneficial for not only crypto regulatory wise, it's going to allow founders in NFTs in crypto to experiment, possibly hire bigger people to experiment in crypto without having to worry about securities laws and all that. And I think it will push the great assets higher. And biggest of all, just make sure that we're here for decades to come.
Yeah, the other thing here again, part of what I'm trying to help in this team is clean out the mental approach that many people get sucked into. When you've got to be mentally clear to be successful in any investing. Okay, you have to be, because your mental outlook will either make you rich or destroy everything you touch. Now, here's my point to that. Instead of saying, well, what do you think it's like? What do you think it'll do if we have a supportive administration, a pro Bitcoin administration? I would suggest you have a healthier viewpoint, and that would be this. You've never heard of crypto. You don't have any fucking idea what a Bitcoin is, but you get told when you wake up tomorrow morning that the United States of America, the largest, most powerful financial force on the globe that we are floating around in space on, just stated for the first time in the history of crypto that Bitcoin is a strategic reserve asset. Now, what do you think of Bitcoin? Then you say, well, that's pretty fucking important. The United States is not going to let Bitcoin fail now. It's not going to happen.
Love that. How did you lose me? Truth is, you only pray for a bear market when you're not over-invested. Yeah, Justin, that's something that a lot of us have to learn. It took for me in my first cycle, made a lot on altcoins and a lot of stuff, and took a lot of profits, but definitely took drank the Kool-Aid that a lot of these coins were going to go for a lot longer. And on the way down, it's definitely harder on the way down when you're overinvested. Like you said, you're, kind of fucking just caught in a tricky place. So that's why, one, want to be invested heavily into these good assets, Bitcoin, ETH, and Sol, so you don't have to deal with that, but then also take profits aggressively on this other stuff, because in these corrective periods, the other stuff that's not Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, the majors just get decimated during these times. It's just what happens.
Couple of thoughts that have been helpful. I was in an interview with Warren Buffett, and Maria Bartiromo was doing the questioning, and I want you to think of this perspective. I've been interviewed by Maria probably, God, I don't know, 100 times maybe in all of her various spots. She started at CNBC, she ended up at Fox, but many years ago, we were on a little panel, and she said, Warren, obviously, you've accomplished so much in the investment world. What do you think about the Fed meeting next week? And he said, Maria, we don't really care about what the Fed does. We don't really pay attention to the Fed. We just buy good stuff and we wait. And she said, well, you could tell she was frustrated because that wasn't the answer she wanted. And then she said, well, come on, Warren, what clearly you must have some opinion on what interest rates are going to do. And he said, Maria, we don't really pay attention to interest rates. We just buy good companies and we wait. Now she's really upset and she says, well, come on, Warren, you know good and well that if the Fed decides something next week and it's not what everybody wants on interest rates, the market is going to be affected by that. You know what he said to her? He said, Maria, we don't really pay attention to what the market does. We buy good companies and we wait.
Okay, starting to catch your drift. So it's like all these different things, doesn't matter the year. There's always going to be different things going on, whether the Fed, the regulatory stuff, but the fundamentals in the asset, whether it's a company with Warren's case or Bitcoin, we know for all these other fundamental reasons, just fuck everything else that's going on.
Ignore the shit.
The shit. I love that. Love that. Justin says, truth is you only pray for it. Yeah, we already read that. Can Solana? Oh yeah, we'll look at Sol too, which is interesting. I want to know. We haven't really asked Max too much
I opened a little long this
about,
morning on
like
Solana.
you're saying, Max.
What?
Nice. Like what Max was saying, that like everything's going to essentially follow Bitcoin. That's kind of my take too. Even though Sol's gotten decimated here, that when Bitcoin does bottom out in this correction, just like every other time that we've seen a Bitcoin correction, especially Bitcoin or Sol and ETH will follow ETH to the upside, or I'm sorry, Bitcoin to the upside. What do you think, Max?
I think Sol is probably $1,000 coin.
Yeah.
Time wise, I'd say a 3 to 5 year run. I'm probably going to be too long, but mentally, you are setting yourself up. You always want to think like this. I'm gonna under expect, and when it's over delivered, I'll be excited. You don't want to get yourself wrapped into some expectations that on the way to getting where you actually think it's going, it just takes longer.
Yeah.
Because you're going to wrap it into the expectation you had, and you don't control the market. You live with the market. Whatever it delivers, you live with it. And let it unfold. Let the game unfold. This is a game, and it will beat to death anybody who is weak-minded. I will guarantee you that. It will beat you until you leave.
Absolutely. Love that. So many nuggets here today. I can't wait to clip this stuff and put it on Twitter. People need this shit. Chain Gay says, how is Bossman doing? Bossman's great. Definitely follow him as well. Check out what Bossman's doing in the channel with myself as well. But yeah, no, Bossman's doing well. Crypto got me mental ill for some people. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's what, like someone was saying, being overinvested in people's bags going down 80 or 90% tends to create a lot of craziness. Good stream as always. Thanks, Zoltan. But yeah, Sol for me, I think we haven't really talked too much about actual price, and all this stuff is amazing. I want to real quickly look at the charts. For me, yesterday in the channel, and then the day before, I put out this this tweet kind of just saying what Max was saying right there, that we just got to let it play out. But I do think based on these past corrections, especially the summer of 2024, that I do think we're going to get a Bitcoin bounce here soon that will confirm corrective behavior on the lower time frame. I'm sorry, the higher time frames. As you can see here, we got this corrective channel, as I like to call it, where price makes multiple lows, bottoms out, and then heads higher. I think we're seeing another version of that in like summer of 2024, and less like, and this bounce kind of confirms that, and less like a bear market, like we were saying. But yeah, like I was saying, I was expecting a bounce. I do think this bounce probably takes us at least into the mid 80s, maybe 90s. Again, just complete guess. And then from there, we see if this is the bottom or if we potentially get a lower high, like we did in 2024, with a potential bottom that retests 78 or retest 70 one more time. Again, all of this is just stuff based on past corrections I've seen. Doesn't really matter. It's not going to be completely accurate, but it's just stuff that I like to follow when I'm getting into longs and stuff like that. When stuff that I like to look at. Some people are into the kind of shorter term stuff. But yeah, we're kind of trying to see if this bounce that we get here is going to take us back to all time highs. Maybe this bounce comes with a lot of, maybe Saylor buys 10 billion, and then a bunch of other positive news comes out, and the people who drive the markets are done buying, or potentially we get a lower high coming down one more time into the 70s, potentially something like that. Either way, long term, 2025 and beyond, extremely bullish. We just got to let this shit play out. I think that's what I can summarize.
Hey,
This.
Brent, can you put the chart of Sol? I bring it up because I think someone in the chat was asking, can you look at Sol again?
Yeah, I was just looking at it right now a second ago. But yeah,
Okay.
for sure. I think, yeah, same kind of thing. It is. I think if Bitcoin does bottom out, simply Sol will too. It has technically been consolidating, kind of broke this low just slightly, but like 2-3 weeks of consolidation, I could just see across the board a nice little base forming here with ETH or Bitcoin holding this low for almost 24 hours now, about 16 hours. I wouldn't be surprised if we just take off here again. Got to see how much follow through there is on this move. But overall, this is confirming corrective behavior here for me, and that we're not in an impulsive, like huge move down that's going to take us a lot lower. Again, probabilistically, nothing's for sure, but just based on these past corrective structures that I've seen, time and time again play out, I think we're going to see again more of a 2024
Yeah.
correction. It's like Max said real quickly to finish up. Like Max was saying, I think we're going to enter more of a newer era where we don't get these long 2-year bear markets. Instead, just these quick, freaking vicious, 6-month, 8-month corrections, stuff like that.
Yeah, when it comes to Sol at least, because I know someone was asking what the bottom is would be, and so I think that 115, 120 range has been held very strong.
Yeah.
So that's what I shorted. Actually, that's why I long this morning at around 118. So far, it's playing out. Can it go lower? Perhaps. I don't think it goes under 115 again. Perhaps it. I know other people are calling. Oh, it's gonna go to two figures, right? It's not gonna go under 100. I don't really see it. I think we are, as Max mentioned too, at max despair. When you look at the overall, conditions of the economy, is not really like that negative, right? I'm not saying that there's no fundamental stuff structurally that might make people very short term, but I think the economy and everything is functioning as it should, and even though we have these tariffs and everything. I just don't see that we're gonna go much lower. I again, my bottom for me was like 115. Can it go lower? Yes, and I would probably buy under that. But just to establish a safe base, that's what I would say. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I think for me, just real quickly, I want to hear what Max has to say. I think if Bitcoin bounces here, Sol will too. If Bitcoin does get that lower high and comes down one more time, I could see Sol coming down in the low hundreds one more time, but I think that'd probably be the last low. Max, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I was just going to sort of build on the idea that think of when you're looking at charts and you're hearing all the noise and you're reading all the bullshit on CT and you're listening to all your buddies tell you what happened in the last 4 ticks, and that's how they feel. Try to like when I'm looking at this chart on the screen right now. Here's what my mind is thinking. I'm thinking that's a good value. Okay, so that's the first thing I'm thinking. I'm not thinking, holy shit, are we in a bear market or are we in a bull market or is this fucking dead or is this going to zero or is it? I'm not thinking any of that. I'm also not thinking, okay, it's going to bounce in a week and then probably in a month it's going to be all the way back to its all-time highs, and this thing's going to 500 in before September. I'm
Yeah.
not thinking any of that. What I'm ideally thinking is now that we've beaten the shit out of everybody who owned it at 250, I hope it just goes to sleep for a month or two and doesn't do a fucking thing. It just sits there and makes everybody who possibly tried to hold on so fucking tired of it that they sell. And then quietly, the train leaves the station. And then you look back at it 6 months from now, and the fucking thing's $310.
Mhm.
So don't try not to get yourself wrapped around it's going somewhere. Try to focus on it's worth a lot more than it was at 250.
I love that. Hell yeah. Alvin says, Max, what's something to remember to avoid falling in the trap of holding onto an asset for too long when things go up again?
Well, if
taking
you
profit.
if you bought a good asset, remember, you know, my world is basically, so far my experience has primarily been in, heavy, big, big coins, not, big structures, not meme coins. Though I've had a little experience in it, not great, well, not good at all. Um, but I can't probably give you a lot of ideas on meme coins. But if you're looking at the top, I don't know, 200 coins spread across L1s, L2s, AIs, and RWAs, and then maybe some gaming. If you got those 5 areas covered with L1s, and if you've got them covered with big coins, heavy depth, worth a lot of money, not 47 minutes old, um, then you're in good assets. And you have to think of what you buy. Here's how you have to think of what you buy. Pretend you get born with a card on it that says, I get to buy 50 ideas in the crypto world. That's it. Every time I buy something, they clip off part of my card. And there's only 50 little snippets they can take. Now, I'm not saying you're only going to do that, but what I'm saying is if you think that way, then you'll think at a deeper level. You'll think at a more valuable level. You'll think at a more long-term level. Because the next thing you want to think is not only do I get 50 cards, but the minute I buy this thing, the market's going to close for 5 years and I can't sell it. You take those perspectives and you will find yourself thinking of quality and depth and long-term investing, and you will win.
Gotcha. Yeah. Rojum says, expecting a specific dollar amount, specific multiple, or a specific time frame to tunnel vision year. Good opportunities will pass you by for so fixated. Yeah, for sure. So basically, what's the bottom of Soul? Well, who knows, man? We'll see. Maybe here, maybe lower. Doesn't matter. Focus on, like Max said, where it was versus fucking a few months ago at 250. Way more valuable now. Carmen says, what about XRP? We were talking about XRP before on the stream in the Telegram the other night, I think, or maybe it was on this one. I don't know. Max was saying, there is some connections there, obviously deeper with all these banking institutions. Who knows if it becomes, whatever. But just right, Max, like just the fact that it's in the top 20, if Bitcoin does go up, those top coins should just appreciate in value generally anyway.
I
Right?
think XRP is a great asset. I
Yeah.
don't think anyone's going to get. But remember, you can't buy XRP at 219 and say, holy fuck, what's it doing at 205?
Yeah. Yeah.
You just can't. If you're going to do that, don't buy it because
Yeah. I want to
it,
watch that. Go
it
ahead.
will go to 205.
Yeah.
But you'll drive yourself nuts and you'll lose money.
Yeah, here, hold on. I want to see if I can share this properly here, so it'll work. Chrome tab, I think X. Hopefully the sound will work. But this clip by Michael Saylor.
Like if you roll the clock back to 2007, Steve Jobs
You guys hear it?
I do.
invents the iPhone. And,
Yep.
you know, people thought, oh, it's a toy. By 2009, the iPhone's got an app store. And if you understood anything about software, the iOS is a new operating system, and it's going to be its own ecosystem, at least as important as the web. And it's going to spawn an entire new generation of applications, right? And the mobile wave is responsible for what, like $5 trillion, $5 to $10 trillion of wealth over the next decade. Can you imagine someone sitting around saying, oh, I get mobile device technology, and you're trying to time the market in Apple stock in 2011? Like you're buying and selling Apple stock in 2011. You want to shake them. Like, are you out of your mind? I'm trading Facebook stock back and forth between $8 a share and $4 a share and $12 a share. And you just want to do this. Like, do you not understand that one day every single person on the planet is going to have one of these things in their pocket, and it's going to go up by a factor of 100, and you're trying to like trade Apple stock between $1.25 and $1.17 and bragging about how you bought it at $1.25 and sold it at $2.11? And have you figured out the consequences of being short the share if it goes up by $100? Like the amount, like, are you out of your mind? Like, because, by the way, like I spent 30 years in the business and I obsess over this every single freaking minute of the day. And I wrote a book on it, right? I wrote the book.
Yeah, you guys get the point. Pretty much just what Max was saying. It's like,
Let me tell you a funny story, because something like this happened. My first company was bought out, and I went to New York City for 10 years. And I was one of the 12 partners in a firm that managed a lot of money. We had 5 mutual funds. I managed one of those. We bought Apple at $6.50
wow.
when it was almost going broke. And one of our analysts came in. His name was Danny, young guy, very sharp. Apple had gone to $30. And he said, Mike, you've made a lot of money on the Apple position. I think it's time to sell. And I said, I said, well, why do you think it's time to sell? And he gave me all this spreadsheet stuff. And he said, well, the PE is here, and it's only growing at this rate. And here's what the last 5 years geometric curve looks like. And here's where their margins are. And my God, how many fucking people are really going to buy a fancy cassette machine? And that was back when they had the white original iPod. It was like half an inch thick. It was white or off-white, and it was an ugly piece of equipment. But man, was it cool, because you could just carry your music around with you. Okay, so they had nothing except that. And I said, well, Danny, let me ask you a quick question. I said, do you have a girlfriend? And he said, yeah, I do. And I said, okay, great. I said, what if tomorrow morning Steve Jobs said, guess what? We have these little iPods in color. And he looked at me and he said, fuck, do you think they can make them in color? I said, I will fucking guarantee you that Steve Jobs is thinking about making these in color. And he said, well, okay. I said, so let's pretend that he comes out with colorful iPods. Will your girlfriend buy another one to match her purse? And he put his pen down and he said, Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that would be growth. And I said, yeah, that'll be growth. I said, let me ask you one more thing. Now remember, this is back when clamshell phones were the thing. You just folded your phone, right? There's no such thing as an iPhone. I said, you do understand that Steve Jobs is trying to figure out how to get in the phone business. And he rolled his eyes. He said, oh, Mike, I'm telling you, Apple will go broke if they get in the phone business. There's no money in the phone business. And I said, Danny, he will change phones like he changed music. It's not going to be a phone the way you and I think about phones. So take all that analogy, guys, and throw out all the garbage you hear about crypto, because it's going to change money in ways we don't call money. It's going to change things that we don't even know it's going to change yet.
Fucking love that. I'm fucking fired up. I don't know about you guys. Jimmy says pretty bullish on the majors. Yeah, Miss D says thanks Max and Brent for giving me the best macro insight about Bitcoin and crypto I've ever heard. Ivan says my comments ain't popping up. I hope you figured it out, Ivan. Crypto Syndrome says 2 days of Brent hosting the stream. We're already hitting almost 2K. I know 2K. We hit 1.8K right at the end last time. We're still not even. We still got like 20 minutes to go. I'm probably gonna hit I think 1.9 actually, which is amazing. Thank you guys so much for being on again. This is something we want to do for a while. We've done it for 8 months, working up, and now to have 2K people. I don't know concurrent viewers. It doesn't show, but at least at some point 2K people on this stream during this time where activity is low. You guys are so amazing. Thank you so much for being on. Again, we're going to be doing this, turning up these streams not only with this great analysis, but having guests on, hearing different people's stories. A lot of cool stuff coming from everybody on here. So follow everybody on the panel. Max, obviously, the second person tagged to myself. Go and follow his Twitter, and we'll have a lot of these clipped up.
I love how some of the listeners weren't even alive when the iPod
Yeah,
and
that's a good
this
point.
purchasing
Yeah, that's
was
like,
done. Right?
You mean iPhone?
That's a good point. I'm sorry for that. I probably should have said something different, but
No. That's excellent perspective.
I was kind of more or less trying to give a mental thought process of what's going to unfold in front of us as crypto becomes completely unknown to 97% of the crowd. So there's a whole lot of stuff that the small group of people that are participating are the pioneers. So we got to take all the arrows, guys. We got to take every shot. And we have to learn that's part of the place we chose to be in. You know, if you don't want to take all the shots, don't be a pioneer. You know, step out.
Well, yeah,
But-
wait till we're at 1 million. You know.
Yeah, but if you are a pioneer, don't take the shots as a personal affront. It's just part of what you bought. You know,
Exactly.
it's not something to throw you off your course. It's part of the course.
Hell yeah, yeah. If you want to eat, you got to take the arrows. Love that. Hey, Brino says, "What do you think about Jupiter? What are your predictions for price for it?" I think Jupiter, a key infrastructure piece of Solana, I think will move up with the overall market. I'm not too worried about anything going on with the Meteora stuff with Jupiter, but yeah, we'll see. Crypto Syndrome says lots of knowledge for sure. NFT Trigger says he said, "Oh fuck, what's it doing at 205?" Yeah, we're blessed to have the likes of Max in the space. Absolutely. CD Sir says, "Yo, Bren, what's up, CD?" Oka Sir says, "Is going to change things. We don't even know that it changes." Yes. Goat Stream, much love, Bren. Thanks for being on this whole time, Raj. Thanks, Soul. I see Soul, you've been on here the whole time too. You guys are amazing. Zoltan says, "Always here to learn and support." Thank you. Zudi says, "Very good stream. Thank you for being on, Zudi." If you don't trust Brendan Max, you're hey, yeah, you're crazy, bro. Oka says, "That's it. Just stay out if you don't want to take a chat." Yeah. Could you share your thoughts about current market? You probably already talked. Yeah, we talked about it, man. Again, kind of just like the overall theme, if you've been watching at all during the stream, is we got to all in the space put less emphasis on the fucking short term. I personally am more of a chart guy because I mess with leverage and stuff. I do believe I have a bit of an edge only because I've studied the other past charts, but even this stuff, could change multiple ways and stuff like that. Oh, either way, I think we got to let this thing play out. Whether this thing takes 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, Max just kind of laid out the vision for. We're going to be here for decades now. Bitcoin's not. The U.S. is not going to let Bitcoin fail, and therefore the crypto industry in general should continue to the upside. So we should just be here for the long term and let this thing fucking unfold. So that's what I gotta say.
Yeah, I think what you want to here's what you want to do to help yourself mentally. When the market is shitty, you want to be positive. Just
Yeah.
just say, man, we're in a shitty market and it's a crappy period of time. And why am I going to be positive about that? Because I know what happens next. Never focus on what's now. What's important is what's next. So what follows a shitty market is what? A recovering market. And it's going to recover in ways you are not going to figure out. You are not going to be able to second guess. You are not going to define. But if you get yourself all wrapped up in how shitty it is currently, you won't be there. So don't do it. Don't look. I tell everybody in the stock business, and I've said this since the day I started, you have one enemy in your wealth building plan, one really bad enemy. And you know who it is, Mrs. Jones? It's yourself.
Yep.
You do not want to do battle with yourself because you will destroy your ability to see clearly because of your emotions. So understand that front end. Everybody's the same. We are all the same. We all feel the same things. Some of us just control it a little better and we use it as a weapon on our behalf instead of a weapon against ourselves. By the way, I think we just hit 2K.
Let's go.
Screen.
Amazing. All time. That's a PR for us.
Well
Again,
done.
thank
Is that all time high for us? 2K.
Yep,
We're
PR.
all-time high. Time to sell some, take some profit.
Yeah.
Never, bro. You just hear Max. You're never selling.
What are
You're
you
never
talking
selling.
about, bro? We're Bitcoin. We're the Bitcoin.
Not
industry.
on his face for an hour or two. Never selling, bro.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Again, thank you guys so much for being on. Only up from here. Again, we're going to continue to put out this information. Continue to stay optimistic and positive during a time where a lot of people are, you're not or wondering what's next. So definitely we'll be back on here. We're not quite done yet, but we'll be back on here on Friday. This time we will have a guest, somebody who's more the crypto and the meme coin space for a while. We'll hear his story, his takes on what's going on in the market, and then as well as just more irrelevant stuff with the tariffs, more nuggets dropped by Max. Honestly, this whole thing, is going to be great to put in a video and clip up and put. I feel like everybody needs this stuff. So thank you again, Max, for all of this. Let me see.
It's
We're blessed.
snowing right now. I'm taking profits. It's snow after spring. Come on.
Yeah. Kaleem says we're blessed to have the likes of. Yeah, we already read that. My bad. The sun always shines after the rain. Yeah, just like with the title of the stream. It's always the darkest before the dawn. Always gonna be here. Always here for you, Bren. Thanks, Oka. And yes, I will be picking the giveaway I posted in the channel. I will be picking somebody from the comments of the stream here in a few minutes, and then 2 people from that commented on the actual post, and then in the Telegram as well. Total, I think, of like $400. So again, it's the least I can do for all the support that you guys show in the streams and everything like that. So definitely turn post notifications on so that you get alerts when we're on next. But again, expect us on Fridays a little bit earlier than today, which is 10 a.m. PST. And today we're really heavily focused on like general talks and charts. We do over NFTs. I do want to go over that for a little bit. I don't think really anything happened this week. But as the NFT industry or the bull market in the NFT second one comes, which I do think is coming, we will be more focused on NFT analysis and stuff, especially with my boy Rhodes, who always gives us a lot of great stuff too. So Yuka says when the market dumps, there are pullbacks, which are green candle, always positive. Yes, sir. Jimmy says let's go. Oka says active. But yeah, W stream for sure. 2K viewers total while we're still on is amazing. What else? Anything happened on the stream while we're here? Nothing. It's pretty quiet. Oh, you can pay with Pengu now on Shopify. Wow, crazy development. AIXBT. I don't know if you guys saw AIXBT fudded itself the other day. Did you see that for Loco? I don't know if he's still with us actually. No, he had to go. But AIXBT the other day said, "Oh yeah, like not gonna lie, AIXBT is." He listed AIXBT and two other
Right.
coins, and he said, "Not gonna lie, it's still overvalued here." Talking about his own token, that's nuts.
Yeah, bro, that shit's worth 0.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. 2,000. Yeah, it's crazy. Zero Bro used to get like crazy, like 200-300 likes on his tweets. Now it's just like a fucking ghost.
Yeah, the memes do. Didn't the memes pump like 20% with this pump?
Yeah,
At
the
the end of the
strong
day?
stuff again, always like Giga SPX Mog, the ones with time in the game, usually when Bitcoin bounces, they start to bounce. And I think that's what's gonna happen. I still think SPX Giga Mog, because they've been through these corrections before, six times this year alone, Giga's corrected 70%. I think very likely that's the same thing we're gonna happen again. And every time it does go through these corrections, it has better supply distribution, which allows it to sustain higher market caps. Is Giga going to go to 100 billion? I don't fucking know, but I think it's going to go on this next leg. I think it's going to go in the multiple billions, and 10 billion is not too crazy. Something that Pepe hit, OneCoin hit like earlier this year. So, I still think Giga is going to the multiple billions again because we actually have data and stuff to go off of multiple times. But even this, who knows? Maybe the seventh time Giga doesn't go back up, doesn't follow Bitcoin. This time is different. But I like to, I do have a good chunk of my portfolio, not too crazy, maybe 20-ish% in these strong memes that have survived these corrections before. SPX, Giga, Mog, ticker Bitcoin. But again, the stuff that hasn't been through these before, all the AI we're talking about, a lot of this stuff won't come out of this, and we'll die like we always see during these corrections. Damn, this chat is active, guys. I appreciate you guys so much. You trade some futures too? Yeah, when I do use perpetual Sorry, I'm reading. Yeah, I do use perps with ETH and Sol. I have probably taken 2 trades leverage wise over the last 2 months. Just really waiting for strong confirmation that the bottom's in. Really, just yeah. So yes, I do when at certain times, but right now I've been very, very sitting on my hands as far as that goes. One skill set we all need to develop in the crypto space is patience. Absolutely, patience is key. My gut says we still have much more cooks to win. Absolutely different. Back to Bitcoin, patience is key for sure. Okay, nice. Rose, anything happened in NFT as far as news this week or anything interesting at all?
Relatively quiet. Taproot Wizards are incoming. One of the more anticipated ordinal collections requires burning of quantum cats. Of course, they're coming about it at a time where it is a little less ideal. I see you got it up there with Beanie, but that's kind of the more major one. I still think these will kind of cook to a degree, but if you look at the trend of ordinals in general, they have been nothing but down. We haven't seen a lot of rally on them. They've been managing to generate some funds. Of course, we just recently had the OMB mint process that was able to generate a good amount of funds. I think 7 million in total for that team.
What's
So
the OMB?
there's some OMB Black Eyes. So adding to their collection. So every time they do a mint, it is actually expanding upon the original collection. I don't know if they have any other eye colors to come or if they're now finished. But there's that. And then we had a couple of really good Fidenza sales. Punks are holding up pretty well in general in terms of ETH value. Of course, ETH in general, USD wise, is going down. So punks are getting closer to that general floor where they become really attractive. I think anywhere in that 60K range, they're super attractive. They're around 70K at the moment. So they're interesting. Pudgies, as I mentioned earlier, they got closer towards their 8 ETH kind of floor range. We have a bit of a pullback on Board 8 Yacht Club down to sub 13 ETH. So still some retracements on NFTs, but some positive sales. They don't move. They don't pull back quite as aggressive as what we see in terms of meme coins and even some alts. There's a little bit more stability there, and again, that pullback that you see on it, that's can be gobbled up a lot quicker because of the way the floors work on it, etc. So, but yeah, otherwise relatively quiet. I want to see crypto kind of establish, and when there's a lot of volatility in crypto, that's really generally not great for NFTs. NFTs perform best when there's stability, and so if we can get some sideways action or some stability in crypto, then you'll see NFTs kind of get a bit of a rally. But when there's volatility either to the downside or fast to the upside, then NFTs kind of take a back seat. So for the most part, if you're accumulating your quality projects and founders. Otherwise, you are waiting for better value in the future here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm gonna start accumulating. I think today or tomorrow. Did you see there's a poly market bet on Canada being the 51st state?
What was it? Canada
It's
being
at
the 51st state?
it's at 50%, bro.
15?
50.
What?
Do you know
What's
how,
the
do you know
What's
how
the timeline? How long does it take for?
Tomorrow.
do you know how rich Canadians would be if they became part of this country?
I'm kidding, bro. It's at 2% for July.
2% for July.
Yeah.
You're not wrong, Max. The problem is, as I'm sure anyone can relate, at least for any free country, it's really hard to sell your national pride, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't disagree that there's a lot of value in being the largest, greatest country on the planet, but there's a lot to give up in the sense of national pride, etc. And then also, I think if you get a country the size of essentially North America minus Mexico, your your world domination side of it beyond what it already is, to me, gets a little bit too much for world stability. And that's my kind of background thought of that. And I don't know if that's the case, but that's just my thought. Is like, man, if Canada and the U.S. were combined, like the amount of resources, amount of strength that would provide one nation, I think is maybe a little too much for global stability.
Well, think of it this way, though. I don't disagree with what you're saying, but what if you thought of it this way? If Here's what I've been telling people for about 15 years. The next 50 years of wealth building in this world, imagine for a minute you have a map that's flat on the table. It's the whole globe, but it's flat. You take a pencil and you start at the top of Canada and you draw a line all the way down the East Coast and you get down to the tip of South America, and then you come around and you come all the way back up the West Coast and you intersect back at the top of Canada. That's where 85% of all wealth is going to be built for the next 50 years. So think about this for a second. If you guys were part of the U.S., the way that Canada, for all of its benefits that it would bring, you could outline special benefits that Canadians would have forever because of what the rest of the world would now have to rely on from everything we would provide the world as a team.
for sure?
Much more forceful and beneficial in the mid and long run if people don't look at it as someone taking over their sovereignty. It would only be done in a way that's a win-win.
Absolutely. Damn, love these discussions. Not
I,
just
I,
about
yeah,
That
that poly market line just moved to 5%.
I put money in it, but July is too soon. I think.
Oh yeah, not July. Yeah, no.
yeah.
By the way, we just got to 2.1.
Amazing. Love that. I will do that giveaway here just in a second. Somebody asked, do we just talk about crypto? So Max, traditionally my background, yes, is in crypto. These other guys, crypto and NFTs. Max, we're actually blessed to have, has 40 years, over 4 years, 40 years of experience in the traditional finance realm with equities, other realms. Now we traditionally talk about crypto more because I think that's where the demand's for. But we could always look at some other specific stocks or indexes and stuff too. Um, as
Actually,
well.
I gotta hop. I got another call to go to, but
No worries, brother. You can hop off.
appreciate you guys. You guys can finish this off, but Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. We'll see you guys back here. Brent, tell them about the guest. Tease them about the guest. I got a dip though. I'll see you
Yeah,
guys.
no worries.
See ya.
Yeah, I did a little bit already, but I will towards the end of the show here in a second. But yeah, no, great question. Whoever asked that a second ago. Everyone needs to survive, and crypto is being discussed here. Valuable stream so far. Is it recorded? Yes. Minnow. After the stream's over, it'll just be there. I'll leave it there to be recorded, so you guys can watch it over. Definitely, if you guys are in the stream, even if we're gonna end in probably 10 minutes, five-ish minutes or so, but definitely like, comment, retweet the stream so we can get this out to more people. We definitely would not be here if it wasn't for you guys in the chat. I see a lot of these Twitter streams and stuff like that don't really use the chat like they do on Twitch and stuff like that. So, the chat, everything you guys are doing is half the show. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here. So, again, 2K viewers is a accomplishment for all of us. So I appreciate you guys. Too, and then yeah, like, comment, retweet. Definitely 2K right now during a time where stuff's calm is great. 5-10K like somebody said here eventually. But we only get there by providing great analysis and value to you guys. So again, appreciate you. Thanks for being here, Armstrong. Joe, really hope I win. Yeah, brother. Again, time in the game, not timing. Time in the market, not timing the market. If you just do these like simple principles Max is talking about, it's inevitable you're going to win in the long term, bro. 2K viewers is a good thing, yeah, for sure. So I'm going to do that giveaway real quick. We're going to finish up. I got to get going to the gym. But let's see here. I'm going to go and give it to somebody today who in the chat. And again, I'm going to give away 2 more people who commented earlier on the actual post, and then one in the Telegram. But every time I want to reward somebody who's been asking great questions and been asking great comments as well. Crypto Syndrome, you'll be the winner of the 100 USDC today from the chat. You've been asking great questions, great comments, been super supportive. So appreciate you. Definitely DM me either on Twitter, Telegram, whatever. And the next 24 hours, I'll get you out that 100 USDC, and then I'll DM a few other people and announce the winners of the giveaway from the other avenues as well. We appreciate you guys. We'll be back again on Raj. What's up, brother? Appreciate you for being on. We'll be back on again Friday at 10 a.m. PST. Before we sign out, Max, anything else, brother?
Just be patient, guys. Be patient and let the game come to you.
Let the game come to you. Rotes, any final thoughts?
Let's move that fear and greed index up to no longer being afraid of the markets. Let's get it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Shadow says, can't wait for the next stream. Yeah. Yes, sir. Shadow, turn on those post notices so you see what's coming on. But with that, again, best stream yet. Appreciate you guys so much. And we'll see you on Friday. Peace.